Good afternoon. Thank everybody for joining us either through our recording or here in person. And we're going to call our meeting to order right now. And we'll begin with a moment of silence. Thank you. Would you please join me for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first item on the agenda is to approve the agenda, and we have 4 items that we need to add tonight, so we'll vote on each of those separately. Is a motion to amend the agenda by adding item I, consider posting a medical clerical position for the 2021-22 school year. So I will need a motion to add that to the agenda. A motion by Mr. Johar, second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. The second item to add is to amend the agenda by adding item J, consider approval of the final plan design for Muhlenberg West Campus Kitchen Addition. I need a motion to add item J to the agenda.
Second.
Approved by first motion by Mr. Bowers, second by Mr. Johar. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item 3 is to amend the agenda by adding item K, consider approval of the DG3 for the final plan design for Muhlenberg Campus Kitchen Addition. I'll need a motion to add item K. And a motion by Ms. Bard and second by Mr. Bowers. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. And then the fourth item is a motion to amend the agenda by adding item L, consider $1,200 additional compensation for COVID-19 preparation and prevention payment. And I will need a motion to add item L. Got a motion by Ms. Bard, second by Mr. Johar. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And that's the 4 items that we add. So now I need a motion to approve the amended agenda. Got a motion by Mr. Johar. Second by Mr. Bowers. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. Okay, Miss Embry, I will turn it over to you for our recognitions this evening.
Good evening. All right, let me get my screen shared. Just one moment. Oh, me. Miss Wells, are you seeing my screen as far as Muhlenberg County Governor Scholar Program?
We are.
Great. Let me, I was pressing the wrong button. I apologize. So good evening, board members. Tonight, we have several students that I just want to recognize. They participated in some awesome programs this past summer. I'm going to start with the Governor's Scholar Program. Of course, if we were in person, each of those students would get to come forward. We take a picture and we would hand them a certificate. And so tonight, we're going to get those certificates signed and I will get them mailed out to each student. So the first student that I want to begin with, as you all know, the Governor's Scholar Program is a summer residential program for outstanding high school students. Muhlenberg County had 10 students this past summer to participate. So we'll start with Rayleigh Chadwick. Rayleigh is the daughter of Tanya and Michael Sparks and Danny Chadwick of Central City. She attended GSP at Morehead State University. Next, we have Baker Hardison. Baker is the daughter of Brent and Jennifer Hardison of Greenville. She attended GSP at Morehead State University. Next, we have Caroline Schindler. She is the daughter of Brian and Melissa Schindler of Greenville, and she attended GSP at Bellarmine University. Next, we have Allie Bryn Sommers. She's the daughter of Robert and Jelaine Sommers of Bremen. She attended GSP at Morehead State. We have Whitley Stovall. She is the daughter of Eric and Allison Stovall of Greenville, and she attended GSP at Bellarmine University. Next, we have Kendra Walker. Kendra is the daughter of Kenneth and Sandra Walker of Greenville, and she attended GSP at Bellarmine University. Then we have Jake Allen. He is the son of Amy Allen of Bremen, and he attended GSP at Center College. Then we have Isaac Evans. Isaac is the son of Paul and Alicia Evans of Lewisburg, and he attended GSP at Bellarmine University. Then we have Avery Grant Mefford. Grant is the son of Johnny and Faith Mefford, and he attended GSP at Bellarmine. And then we have Jackson Miller. Jackson is the son of Ryan and Risha Miller of Greenville, and he attended GSP at Center College. So next we have 3 students who participated in the Governor's School for the Arts, and that also is 3 solid weeks, and it's at the University of Kentucky. These students discovered the power of their art and their place as an artist. We want to say congratulations to Delaney Teague. She is the daughter of TJ and Kelly Teague of Greenville. We have Alexander Barton. He is the son of Tommy and Stacy Barton of Central City. We have Brady Steele. He is the son of Jennifer Steele and Chris Steele of Beechmont. And the last one I want to recognize, but certainly not least, is the Muhlenberg County Governor's Scholar of Entrepreneurs. We have Miss Hannah Rager. I do want to tell you that the Governor's School of Entrepreneurs takes place at Northern Kentucky University, and it consists of a 3-week residential program. Again, 3 weeks out. Students immerse in a creative space and are armed with tools needed to unleash their entrepreneur spirits for the betterment of Kentucky. If you know Hannah, you know that she is going to be a leader. She is the daughter of Jerry and Amy Rager of Bremen. We are so proud of these students. We wish we could congratulate them in person, but I will be sending them their certificates of completion. So thank you very much. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Emery, and congratulations to all these students. You have made Muhlenberg County proud, and I know these are your very competitive programs to get in, and it's an honor to be a part of them. So congratulations.
Indeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is the treasurer's report, Mr. Blessing.
All right. Hold up, there we go. Thank you, Chairman Wells. Board members, this evening I bring to you the financials as of July 31st, 2021. Revenues. The beginning balance was about $25.4 million. This is down by $3.3 million. That is mainly due to the 4 payrolls that are done in June. That happens every year. Our receipts were about $4.3 million. They are up $2.1 million from last month and up $495,000 from the same period of last year. SEEK is up about $561,000. Federal is down $177,000. Other is up $300,000. Taxes are up $1.1 million. Food service is up $211,000, and daycare is up $77,000 for a total of $29.7 million. Expenditures. Accounts payable, $1.1 million. Accounts payable is down approximately $975,000 when compared to the same period last year. We had construction costs last year. However, there were some significant bills in July that bring to your attention. $265,597 to train. That was for the cooling towers. $100,431 to Lawton Insurance. That was for insurance payments. $60,000 to Old National. $52,284 to Roberts Insurance. That's for the student accident insurance. $52,397 to Muhlenberg Fiscal Court for SROs. At $49,000 to Edmentum, which is a software that we use annually, and $31,000 Muhlenberg County Sheriff, also a SRO. Payroll is up $93,000 versus July of 2020 at $934,230 for a total in July of $2,009,072.28. Accounts payable breakdown: fixed and mixed expenses are about $737,000, variable expenses $236,000, and utilities expense about $99,000. And really, our utilities expenses are continually staying down. So, for the breakdown, the general fund about $780,000. Fund 2 and school activity funds are about $174,000. Debt service, again, it was the $60,000. Food service and daycare about $58,000. Ledger balance at the close of the month was $27.7 million. The bank balance was about $20.2, and outstanding checks of $494,000 for a cash balance of $19.7. A little further breakdown. You see the general fund is down about $1 million, and special revenue is down about $2.2 million. We are, in our federal cash requests, going to be collecting a significant amount of that back this next time. So it's a lot of the ESSER funds that we're able to now request. So that's where you'll see a big pickup on that special revenue in Fund 2. So again, for $27.7 million. Extended financial picture. Through December of 2021, we expect to have $23.989 million. Any questions?
No questions. I'll need a motion to approve the treasurer's report. A motion by Mr. Joe Hart. Second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. And payment of bills and salaries.
Thank you again. This month I bring $1.45 million, $698,089 to you. 1.2 million is that fixed and mix. The vast chunks of those are about $656,566.78 to Old National Wealth Management. Those are bond payments that we have annually at this time of the year. About $346,856.32 is to Eves Insurance. That is also our general liability, fleet insurance, those sorts of things. RB Paving and Construction, $167,174. That was for the repaving at South Middle and the bus garage.
Any questions for Mr. Blessing? You need a motion to approve the payment of salaries. Motion on this part, and I will second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is public participation.
No one's signed in.
No one has signed in. Thank you. So the next item on the agenda is our administrative report. So Mr. Davis, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Wells, and everyone. I apologize for not being there tonight. I am currently in quarantine, waiting a test result. Hopefully everything's fine, but I don't have that yet, so I'm stuck here. So I'm just going to work from here. We're not going to have principals' reports tonight because it may be a little bit lengthy. I do, however, want to hear from Ms. Bumps and Mr. Lyle. So, Ms. Bumps, if you can, could you give us just a quick overview of how we're doing with the move, getting ready to go at the high school?
Yes, sir, Mr. Davis. Thank you. Sorry, kind of getting myself together here after freshman open house. It's going fantastic, by the way. But Our custodial staff, maintenance department, and the technology guys, as well as our teachers, have done a fantastic job in getting everything ready. I know Mr. Lyle and I spoke, I believe it was earlier today or yesterday. My days are running together. A couple of things that we still need to get from over at South Middle, but hopefully he'll continue to be a little patient. Those are not things that we necessarily need here at the building to make the opening go well. But we may have a few things in a hallway here and there, but regardless, our rooms will be ready to go, and we're just excited about hearing students in the hallway and hearing their laughter. It's been a great week this week with both open houses.
Yeah, thank you. And I hate not to go through all the principals' reports, but it would make it long. But I've heard nothing but positives about our open houses across the district. So that's great to hear. Mr. Lyle, would you please tell us how you guys are doing moving to the old East Campus, now South Middle?
Yeah, things are going well. Big thanks to our custodians. You know, the school's looking great. Teachers are excited about their new classrooms, and they have their classrooms looking great. As Mr. Davis mentioned, our open houses have went well, and we have received a lot of compliments on the building and some of the things that we've done to make it kind of ours as South. And so that's went well. We do still have, just like Ms. Bumps mentioned, we still have items that we will definitely be using at Old South, but we've left these items for now so that we can focus on the start of the school year. Like Ms. Bumps said, they're items we don't need at the beginning, but we will definitely be using those later. And we plan to move those items around fall break to the new MSMS. And again, thanks to all who helped with our move over the summer.
Thank you, Mr. Lyle. And I do want to mention that we've got a lot of things going on, a lot of stress, a lot of diversity on things, or divisiveness, and I understand that, but we are excited. We want to take a minute to be excited that our high school kids are on one campus for the first time in a long time. Obviously happy for Mr. Lyle and his staff as well, moving to a bigger facility and a newer facility, but it's just so exciting that our 9th through 12th graders are going to be together. And I want to take the time, a second to say that. And 5 days a week. Right now, that's the plan. 5 days a week. It'll be the first time, I think, 5 days a week, I guess, since March of last year. It's been a long time. So we're happy about all that. With all the stress and all the other stuff, we're still happy about that. And I certainly want to thank folks this summer who made that happen. And I know I'm going to leave out some folks, but the custodial staffs from your two schools there, incredible. Absolutely incredible. Our maintenance crew did a tremendous job helping get everything moved. Our tech guys, as always, are amazing. And the staffs themselves, I know, have been a big help getting into the rooms. No pay for any of that, just doing everything they can just to get ready for the kids. So I'm sure I left out some folks because other schools did help, other custodians helped, and a lot of people pitched in. But those folks in particular, wow, I really can't say enough. At this time, I'm going to jump over to Mr. Hardison. And Brent, if you would talk just a little bit about online registration.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Board members, in your packets, you should see a single sheet online registration data tracker. And on that sheet, you're going to see it was data that you would have seen last meeting. And but I've compared that data to the same data format-wise taken today right before noon. You can see that we're having quite a bit of success out there getting our students registered online. I've just been at the high school working with freshman parents, and there's a lot of excitement out there in the buildings. And do want to thank Ms. Gina Hankins for helping out with that. But there's so many more. The principals have been urging this on with social media. With the positive interactions with scheduling days throughout the summer. The counselors have been working there. It's just been a team effort, and you can see there, I'm not going to go through there and read the data, but you can see the jump in the numbers. We're getting quite a few of our kids online registered. So that tells me there's a lot of excitement to get back in the schools and get the year started. So we're really excited about it.
Thank you, Mr. Hardison. I want to talk a little bit. I released a video, I guess, last week, early this week. I can't remember now, but talking about some of these things, but I'm going to reiterate just a little bit. Testing will be made available to our staff and kids this year. It's free of charge. It's totally voluntary. If anybody here's out there, we're going to grab a kid and test them. If a parent doesn't want a child tested at our place at the school, it won't happen. It's just a service, and that goes for staff as well. So we're excited about that in case they want to take us up on it. Again, free of charge, and appreciate Julie Penley really worked to help make that happen. So that's just, again, just a service. Something to make you aware of, board members, and I know we talked a little about it, but last year we had unlimited NTI days. I also had the ability, let's just say I lost the second grade at a school to quarantine. We had the ability to just close that second grade or close that sixth grade or whatever, and we had to some, and it didn't count against the entire district. As of now, we only have 10 days for the year to take, and as of now, if a third grade is quarantined and I have to do that, the entire district doesn't get credit for that day. Now, we're hoping that will change, but as of right now, that has not. It seems to me it has to, but I will say that's something we're kind of concerned about, that we're watching closely. I also want to reiterate the quarantine rules because, guys, y'all may have seen what happened in Warren County. They were, after 3 days, over 700 staff members and kids quarantined. I think they're about 1,300 now, if I remember right. And that's what's going to get us, will be the quarantines. And so the quarantine rules now is, and this is for students in a classroom, if we have all of our students masked and they're at least 3 feet apart, and there may be some classroom that's difficult to do the 3 feet, we're certainly going to try. But if they're at least 3 feet apart and one child tests positive, the other children are not quarantined unless they show symptoms. And that's different than last year. Last year it was 6 feet and they were quarantined anyway. And I would be losing big chunks of classes for 2 weeks. So again, our ultimate goal being 5 days a week in person, that rule makes a big difference. So no matter where you stand with masks, and right now it's a mandate, but regardless of where you stand, if they weren't masked, then let's just say I had a summer school class with 15 kids. And if one child tested positive and they didn't have the mask on and they weren't wearing masks and they kind of interacted, all 15 would be quarantined for 2 weeks. Whereas if they all had masks on, just that one child. So regardless of where you stand on that, and I respect wherever you come from, our ultimate goal is to keep our kids in school. And those quarantine rules help make that happen this year, as long as they're masked. So hopefully we get back to optional masking at some point. But right now, that's kind of where we stand. And as many cases are out there, we really feel like we would have enough positives possibly that would end up closing us down. We can't afford to lose very many bus drivers, very many staff members, custodians. And so we need to understand, a lot of folks don't think that way. It's the quarantine and our lack of staff. We don't have many subs at any level. And so if I lose very many for whatever reason, obviously the biggest concern is someone getting COVID and getting sick, obviously. But outside of that, the quarantines will be what shut us down or slow us down, and we're trying to avoid that. And having said, there's some changes with our quarantine rules, or just the way we're going to go about it. I'm going to turn it over to Julie Penley right now to kind of take us through a little bit of that.
And I will do my best to try to explain this, because the information is coming very quickly, just from yesterday. Yesterday we had a meeting with the health department and learned that we will now be handling the contact tracing for students and staff who have been impacted by COVID-19 exposure, and the responsibility of this begins officially for us on Monday, the 23rd. So we will, over the weekend, I'm sure we'll be making some phone calls to home, and parents may start hearing from us in ways that they haven't heard before. So I would encourage parents to answer the phone. If it's the school number, I know how many phone calls you get, but if it's an unrecognizable phone number or a number from the school, please answer that, just so we can make sure that we have the right students at the right place at the right time. But again, this does officially start on Monday, but we'll be making calls before that. The health department will continue to talk with us on a daily basis. That's been going on for 1.5 years, and that will continue. We will receive a list of all the known school-related household and non-household contacts of all the positive cases in our county. We'll also be doing our own contact tracing within the school. If we have a positive student, then we'll be conducting our own questionnaires and interviews and review of seating charts, which we've been doing all along. It's just that in the past, we turned that over and the health department made those things official. We'll be making those things official. That's now our responsibility. With health department guidance, our goal is to efficiently isolate and quarantine staff and students to slow the spread of this virus. The health department has been heavily involved the entire time, and they'll continue to be a partner throughout this process. But by following our guidelines, our district will work very hard to produce clear and consistent communication so that staff and families understand what they need to do to guard their own health and safety, as well as the health and safety of all of our students. So we're going to try our best. We're going to mess up. we're going to probably go think about the conversation sometimes the wrong way, just trying to get down to what we need to know, but know that our true intention is to just keep everyone safe, and communication is going to be key in that. We have a wonderful relationship with our health department. And for several months, we've heard about this possibly would happen. We've heard about that school districts around us and all over Kentucky who've been asked to do contact tracing. We just hope that day would have not come for us. So yesterday we did get the news, and we'll continue to work together over the next few days as this situation continues to unfold. I talked to Carolyn at the health department today and learned some more details that we didn't know yesterday. So like I said, it's continuing to change, and I'll need to work with other people. Melody definitely heavily involved in that. Adam Kelton, I want to give him a shout out. He's one of our new hires and doing an amazing job helping us in the COVID tracking world. But we'll be getting out more information just as soon as we can.
All right, thank you, Julie. I'm going to try not to be distracted. I just got a text that said call for my lab results, so it can wait till after the meeting's over. We do want to let you guys know that we are not making up the rules now. We have a set of guidelines through the health department. We just have to be the ones to try to implement them and make the calls. So it's not like we can change the rules and make our own calls. It's just we have to work under their guidelines. And we do want to thank our health department. They've been a great partner, and I think they're just a little overwhelmed now. And other districts, like Julie said, they've already been there. And so we're gonna take that up, and simply our group will do the best that we possibly can. I also want to thank our staff, not just at South, Middle, and the high school, but all of our staffs have been hard at work the last week or two and really all summer, trying to do everything we can to bring our kiddos back safely and as efficiently as we can. We may not get it all right. I'm confident we won't. But what I would hope for from most of our parents and our community is to give us the benefit of the doubt that we are certainly trying. Every call, every meeting we have, everything we do, we try to do right by our kids, right by our staff, and right by our parents. So just know that this is a tough time. Some tough decisions to make, and we won't always get them right, and we understand there's going to be disagreement at times. And the next thing I want to talk about a little bit is a virtual option. It's been a tough one. That's been a tricky one. We are very short staffed, and it's hard to shake somebody free or some bodies free to head up a virtual option. We just don't have the people for that. But what we have done, we tried to come up with a limited virtual option for both or all elementary, middle, and high. And it'll be an application process. And so if you're interested in that, you need to call the board and ask for Mr. Hardison. If not Mr. Hardison, Mr. Perkins, but try to go through Brent on that so we can be consistent. We have limited staff, which means limited space. And the application process will hopefully make sure we get the folks who really need it and it can work for. And I will tell you, for our folks out there, if a child last year simply didn't participate, didn't show up, and we had a lot of that, then they will not have that option. That will be on the application process. The last year's results of how they did will be reviewed, and that conversation will be had. We can't have folks who are going to jump in and not do anything take up spots for ones who may truly need it and will actually take advantage of it. So we don't think it's the best thing. We think being in school is best. And, you know, a lot of our kids last year were virtual the entire year. Most of us did the best we could, but it's not best. So we want to have something for folks who truly need it for whatever reason that may be. But again, there's some restrictions and there's some limitations. But if that's something that you truly need and your child did put forth effort last year and did okay with that, call the board, talk to Mr. Hardison, and we'll try to figure out how to work through that. Some of this is still a work in progress. We're still trying to figure out best, especially for elementary. We have the MOVE program for middle and high. We've kind of expanded it. And so that was kind of in place. That was a little bit easier. The elementary version is very difficult. So we want to do right by you guys, but understand with very limited staffing, you know, our folks aren't going to be trying to do both this year. They're going to be focused on the ones in person. So how can we serve our kids at home since they're not doing both? That's what we're working on. We're talking with other districts. It's taken up a lot of our time and it's worth it. We want to do the right thing by you guys, but so call the board if that fits for you. And I do want to say, we ask for the support of the community and parents. And I know a lot of people are just angry and not doing this and not doing that. And I understand, but we just ask for the support. We don't have to be like other districts where all the fighting and all is going on. We don't have to be that way. And I saw some signs driving through a couple of days ago, you know, support Muhlenberg County Schools. That means a lot. That means a lot to a teacher, means a lot to me. I think it means a lot to kids. So if you're willing to do that, even if you don't always agree with what we do, say, hey, I should have done that better. Sometimes you may be right. But we do appreciate it when we see things like that. And we do ask for your support and encouragement. It may be a bumpy ride for a bit, but we're going to do the very best we can to serve our kids. And Vice Chairman Wells, that concludes my report.
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And the personnel actions are given to the board already and placed in the minutes. So, okay, we'll move down to the board action items. The first is consider the college coach position at the high school for the 2021-22 school year.
Well, good evening, everybody. Glad to see everyone via video tonight. The first item that I have on the action item list is the college coach program for the high school. Ms. Bumps is on here too, so between both of us, maybe we can tag team if you have questions. But basically, this is the 4th year of this program. And this job or this position is fully funded. I'll tell you that first off. By AmeriCorps, who pays half of it, and the Martin Foundation with a grant who pays the other half. So it is at no cost to the district. To me, being a high school teacher forever, it seems like, and loving it, this is something that really helps our seniors as they apply for scholarships. This person is instrumental in what they do as far as working with those seniors and those soon-to-be graduates on getting the needed assistance or help FAFSA, whatever's needed. So it's almost like another set of hands to help our students. And I think it's been a very successful program for the last few years, and I really think it is a worthwhile program and a worthwhile position for us to post.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Browning? Okay, I need a motion to approve the college coach position at the high school for the 2021-22 school year. Motion by Mr. Bauer, second by Ms. Bard. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passed. Ms. Browning, I think you're still up again to consider posting one certified teaching position for the 2021-22 school year using ESSER funds.
Yes, ma'am. This is a position, and this is something that Mr. Davis referred to in his report. This position originally was intended, and you'll see in your packet, it was originally intended to serve grades 5 through 12 in the MOVE program. But with us, the addition of a possible virtual option, this may morph into a supervisory role for different levels and grades of students. So once we get that clarified in the posting, we would make sure that that would be clarified for all applicants. We're asking this to be posted for a 1-year term only, and it will be paid for through ESSER funds.
Thank you, Ms. Browning. Any questions? I need a motion to approve. I have a motion by Mr. Johar. Second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Okay, and Ms. Browning again, approve all student fees in accordance with board policy 9.15.
Yes, ma'am. This is just something that we do housekeeping regularly every year. We have in your packet submitted each school that is charging fees to our students. Those fee lists are submitted to you for your approval.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Browning on these? I'll need a motion to approve the student fees in accordance with board policy 9.15. A motion by Ms. Barr, and I will second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Right. Consider adoption of emergency leave for Kentucky Revised Statute 161.152 for the 2021-22 school year.
Okay, this is something that we're bringing before you for your consideration and possible approval. This is an emergency leave, or the adoption of this resolution is going to allow us to extend this emergency leave, which will be granted on a day-by-day basis for up to 3 days for all employees, regardless of their vaccination status. This means that all quarantines, if someone is deemed to have to quarantine or they are determined to be positive, they would get up to 3 days for this school year of paid leave. After that time, depending on their status, they would have to use their sick days. Now, there are 4, and in your packet, this is included in the actual resolution, and I'll go over the 4 reasons why or how a person would qualify for this leave. The first one, and I'm going to read this so I don't misstate anything. If an employee tests positive for COVID-19 and is required to self-quarantine, that's the first one. The second one, if they are experiencing symptoms of COVID-19, seeking a medical diagnosis, or have been advised by a medical provider, health department, or the school to self-quarantine. Number 3 is the employee is advised by a healthcare provider, the health department, or school district to self-quarantine due to a close contact in the performance of their duties, such as they were in the classroom with a positive student. And the 4th one is they are caring for a minor child who has been advised by a medical provider, health department, or the school district to self-quarantine. So this gives them, I'll just kind of summarize, this gives them 3 days of paid leave, whether they're quarantined, whether they're vaccinated, I have to get this straight, I'm sorry, whether they're vaccinated or unvaccinated, a total for the year of 3 days. And there are provisions in there because one of our situations was, if they are the caretaker of a minor child. So there is that provision in there for those employees who have children. So I will stop and ask if you all have any questions. I did kind of in your packet put in, there was a regulation that was passed by the Kentucky Board of Education that granted certain rights to vaccinated employees. So I will state that as we bring this to you, this is going above and beyond that regulation and trying to help our employees with this resolution that we're asking to pass.
Questions for Ms. Browning? I'll need a motion for the adoption of emergency leave for Kentucky Revised Statute 161.152 for the 2021-22 school year. A motion by Ms. Barr. Need a second? Second, Mr. Johar. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, thank you, Ms. Browning. And Ms. Penley, I think you're up now to consider a partnership with Wild Health for COVID screening and testing.
Thank you. Again, so tonight in your packet, you will find a pamphlet that's provided by Wild Health, and that's just going to give you more information about that particular company. It's not a contract for you to approve tonight because there's no finances involved in this partnership. This is a company that was mentioned to us through the Commissioner of Education's webcast several months ago. Back in the spring, each school district was encouraged to partner with a lab who can provide COVID-19 testing. And so we've researched that and gone through all of the options that were provided to us. And Wild Health was the company that we chose to go with. So Wild Health has been setting up COVID-19 testing clinics and vaccination clinics across the state for several months now. Some school districts that they're currently working in, Fayette County Public Schools, Boone County, Jefferson County, tons more have signed on here recently with them. But what Wild Health has offered us, they've already sent us hundreds of rapid antigen tests. So we have those already in stock. And we've already had a training with our health office staff members, and so they've been able to have time to listen and ask questions and learn more about the process. We also have the ability to schedule a PCR test for particular students, and this will come in very handy whenever we get into our contact tracing that I spoke to you about earlier just a moment ago. But one of the main things that I want everyone to hear, and Mr. Davis has already said it, this service is a free service and it is completely voluntary, and it will require prior written parent permission. We will offer it probably more than we use it because we want to make this service available to all of our staff and students who we believe would benefit from that. But no matter how many times we ask, if the answer is no, the answer is no. So if you do not feel comfortable when you're asked, do not feel that you're being pressured, just say no, I do not want it. If you do want your child to participate in that, or our children or students to participate in that, then our nurse's office and our district office will guide parents through that process of getting permission and knowing when to show up and to what confidentiality is huge. This is it's going to fall under a medical procedure or a medical task, so we obviously are going to keep confidentiality to its utmost, and we've been doing that all along. We've been involved in knowing information like this about students and staff for over a year now, and I feel like we've done very well with that. So tonight we're just asking for you all to acknowledge your acceptance and partnership with Wild Health so we can continue to move forward.
Thank you, Ms. Penley. Any questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
Ms. Penley, could you briefly go over the procedure, the procedural part of the test? What can parents expect will be to their children if they are tested?
Right. Well, and we watched this happen, and so just to make sure that this is not one of the tests that probably many of our adults have experienced, where people will often say, I think they went all the way up to my brain. It's not that. It looks like a long Q-tip, and they go right here, right below where the bone, kind of is in your nose, and so they kind of stay here in the bubbly part. We talked in detail about how our kiddos with little faces and little noses, then it's really not that far anyway. So, but again, parents will be there, and at any point in time, if the parent says, never mind, they're free to just drive off. We're not going to force that on them. If we're talking about the rapid antigen testing, then we're talking about a 15-minute turnaround from the time that the swab, was taken until the test results. And with our rapid antigen testing, it's at 84% sensitivity rate. So again, that's within 15 to 20 minutes. Parents would have a good idea if their child is positive or not. If the student is positive, then that initiates our contact tracing within the schools, because we'll immediately be able to go back to those seating charts. When was the student last there? When did those symptoms first start? And then begin our contact tracing for all those close contacts. We also have the option to schedule for Wild Health staff to come on site and do PCR testing. So with PCR testing, you're looking at a 99% sensitivity rate, and test results will be available back to the school district. Only those people with a right to know within 10 to 24 hours. So we will be able to offer 2 different types, the rapid test as well as the send-off PCR test.
Ms. Finley, so if a child is showing symptoms while they're at school and you've got a signed statement that parents have agreed with them to do this, the parents are there when they actually do it, is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I need a motion to approve the partnership with Wild Health for COVID screening and testing. Got a motion by Ms. Farr and a second by Mr. Johar. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Perkins is next to consider district funding assurances.
Can you see me? Nope. There we go. We're good now. Thank you, Vice Chairman Wells. Tonight I bring to you for review and consideration for approval the yearly district funding assurances. You have a copy of this in your packet as usual this year, and as you know, the funding or the district funding assurances contains verification by the local superintendent and you, the Board of Education, that the district is conducting a variety of functions within state and federal laws and regulations in a number of areas. What this really is talking about is we're verifying comprehensive planning, the required reporting on programs to KDE and the U.S. Department of Ed, proper fiscal control and accounting for state and federal funds, and compliance with all state and federal regulations. As you've seen in the list that's included, I won't go through all of them, but what I do is we go through all of the supervisors and myself, and we look at each of the applicable areas, whether it be technology, special education, gifted and talented, preschool and Head Start, and many others, as you can see. And we verify that we are following all policies and procedures as required. And if they're not applicable to us, I go ahead and make sure that that's included in the document as well. One example of that would be for Title III funds, which are funds for English as a second language or English language learner students. The district does not receive funds for that. Therefore, it doesn't show there in some areas, but we're still required to take care of our kids and provide the right services. So some things are just financially attached, while most are talking about how we meet the needs of all of our students. If you have any questions or need further information, I would be happy to give you that at this time.
Any questions for Mr. Perkins? I need a motion that the board approve the district funding assurances to verify that Muhlenberg County schools are in compliance. Got a motion by Mr. Bowers, and I will second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Next item on the agenda is Mr. Bletzinger to award the bid for the ionization system to train.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Wells. This is for, excuse me, there is an ionization system where it'll be added onto the train system that we have already installed. Without getting too technical, basically the system pumps ions into the air. They bind with viruses, smells, those sorts of things, and then the filtration system can then catch them. So it's not, it basically makes the molecule bigger. And so that's how it catches that. So we'd like to award this bid. The full disclosure, right now, they don't have a lot of the materials, so we'd be waiting a little bit, but we wanted to get this approved, so as soon as they got the materials in, we could get rolling on this.
Do you know what time period you're looking at?
Hopefully a month. Really, I mean, they've got, he told me that there's a new replacement ionization piece that they have that they're doing testing on, that they want to make certain, they don't want to give us a product that they don't feel comfortable with, which is why we like Train, because they're going to give us some that they'll, obviously we want some that they're going to stand behind. And so we've got a really good relationship with them. I trust what they tell me. And Robbie's met with them as well with me, but they, if he's told me, Eric, I don't want to push this new thing on you without that testing done, I believe what he says. And so I'd really like to just kind of go with that. And so make sure that we're good. And then as soon as he says we're good to go, then we're going to just get rolling on it. And then they told me about 2 to 3 weeks. So the install is not the hard part. It's the getting the materials here.
Is it in all the schools?
Yes, sir. And there's even longest, they have a different sort of system. So they might actually be able to get theirs sooner than anyone else because it's a different type of system that they'll put into that one because of the age of the units that are there. So that's one that'll be a little bit different, but that's what they're going to do.
Can you use escrow fund?
Yes, sir. I've with all the positions that we've posted and all these things that we're bringing to you, a lot of them are, 99% of them are ESSER funds.
It's not general fund?
No, sir, it's not general fund at all. And it's an approved expense for that.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Bledson? I'll need a motion to award the bid for the ionization system. A motion by Mr. Johar. Second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Davis, your next is to approve the resolution to support the Council for Better Education.
Thank you, Chairman Wells. And this is simply a resolution where basically you're backing me to support the Council for Better Education to take a look at the legality of HB 563, which passed by the narrowest of margins. And it's the tax credit part of that, which would move some public funds to private schools. And even though I think everyone agrees that you should be able to go to a private school, you should be able to homeschool. We don't think that public funds should be moved to that. That will undoubtedly hurt some public schools and districts. So what it basically is saying, and just ask you to approve that it's hereby resolved that Muhlenberg County Board of Education authorizes me to take all the necessary steps to support the Council for Better Education in its legal challenge to the unconstitutionality of the tax credits in HB 563, including the payment of any appropriate dues or assessments related to this school district's membership in CBE or support of the legal challenge. And we've been a member of CBE. Most districts in the state are. Most districts have already passed this. I meant to get it on last month and I did not. Our assessment in this, we only pay when something like this happens. It's like 50 cents a student. That's in the consent agenda. And so it's about $2,000 on our part. And again, I don't know of a district that's not doing this. I think everybody's jumping in to say, hey, let's take a look at this. It's worth some money to take a look and see if this is something that is unconstitutional as we think it may be. So that's what I'm asking that you guys do, is to approve that resolution.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Davis? I need a motion to approve the resolution to support the Council for Better Education. Have a motion by Ms. Farr. Any second? Mr. Bowers. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? A motion passed. Okay, we're ready for item 9. Consider posting a medical clerical position for the 21-22 school year. Ms. Brown.
Thank you, Ms. Wells. during, and this is going to kind of tie in with what Ms. Penley spoke of earlier during the superintendent's report. During the meeting with the health department on Thursday, we did learn and were informed that the school system would now be handling the contact tracing at that time for all non-household members of those positives, and which actually would be considered, well, I'll get to that in just a second, but it is for students and staff, and they were the non-household members. Today we learned, that's how fast things are changing. Today we learned that even more of this responsibility will shift to the schools due to their high case numbers. So what we learned Thursday changed today. So what we're asking to do, while we're going to be working in conjunction with the health department, the notifications to the families and staff members of those who are quarantined, as well as the determination of the lengths of that quarantine time, will all be done by us at the school system. And this, as Ms. Penley said, this responsibility shifts to the district Monday. So what we're asking to do is a little, I guess, a little out of the ordinary. We're asking that we be granted the liberty to post a position after the determination of what roles and responsibilities this position entails. We're actually going through now and actually working on tomorrow and possibly this weekend some of the paperwork that we will need in order to start this contact tracing on Monday. Now, one thing, and the reason I have it medical/clerical, we would prefer to hire someone with a medical background or someone who's worked in the medical field, but we may not be able to do that. We may have to shift that to more of a clerical position. So understanding that this is going to be a quick turnaround for us, this is why we asked to add the agenda item tonight at the last minute. This will be funded by the ESSER funds, and this position would not exceed 185 days, just like a teacher's contract. So this is what we're asking for, the approval to post after it's determined what type of position that we need to assist with contact tracing.
Thank you, Ms. Browning. Any questions for Ms. Browning? I need a motion to post a medical clerical position for the 2021 school year. We've got a motion by Mr. Bowers and a second by Mr. Johar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? A motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is Mr. Blutzinger to consider approval of the final plan design for the Muhlenberg West Campus Kitchen Addition.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. I'm actually going to turn this over to Scott at this time and let him discuss anything with you regarding this. And this basically is to approve the final design for the cafeteria.
So, thank you all. Eric's going to pull up a PDF there. Basically, this is the formality. A lot of the design that you all looked at last time you all approved was the design development, and now these are the final plans. We just took that design and refined it into construction documents, and that's what this approval is for. Since the last meeting, we have had meetings with Chad and his group, and we've spoken with Jimmy to make sure we had everything in order for maintenance. So right now, this is the next formality, which is to approve the final plans so that we can do a submittal to the Department of Education and to Housing, Building, Construction for the permits. And so with that in mind, depending on what their review timeline is, which right now it's 3 to 4 weeks with each entity, but those will be done simultaneously. So we're really hoping that with an approval tonight that we would be able to advertise in the paper for bids and through plan rooms by the first part of the last week of September, or that last week of September, and then open bids in October. So, so are there any questions regarding the plans and specs and the timelines?
Any questions? Okay. I need a motion for the approval of the final plan design for Muhlenberg West Campus Kitchen Addition.
So moved.
I got a motion by Mr. Bowers, Second by Mr. Johar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. And the next item is to consider approval of the BG3 for the final plan design for Muhlenberg West Campus Kitchen Addition.
So let me roll with it.
Go ahead, you can.
Okay, fair enough. I brought paper copies of this. Eric has it, but it's this is the BG3 form, which identifies the probable cost estimate. The big difference is that if anyone has done any construction lately, there is a extreme amount of inflation happening. It is coming down. 4 months ago, projects had a 45 to 50% inflation rate. Now we're seeing more of that 25 to 30% as lumber starts to come down. Steel continues to be high. So just for the sake of time and knowing, because everything is so volatile right now, is that this budget is comparable to what we've always been striving for throughout the design. There's a little bit of a 10% increase overall, just shy of 10% on paper, but the true way to find out what it's going to cost is to bid it. And so at that point, this kind of gets things into perspective on what we're hoping that it is. But depending on equipment availability, timelines, things of that, and equipment and cost, that will really derive the actual cost of the project. So, but this is just one of the steps we have to take to bid it and see what the actual cost comes in at, and then we'll have to address that then. So.
Thank you. Any questions? I need a motion for the approval of the BG3 for the final plan design for Muhlenberg West Campus Kitchen Addition. Have a motion by Mr. Bowers. I will second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
The next item would be Mr. Davis to consider $1,200 additional compensation for COVID-19 preparation and prevention.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Wells. I'm excited about this. This is something we've been working on for quite a while. Several other districts have done something similar, but this is additional comp for our folks for basically the preparation and prevention, their extra duties. Everybody's doing something a little extra, a little different. And we're just like other places, be it Walmart or restaurants or wherever. We're razor thin on staff. And this is a way to recruit and a way to retain folks. Hopefully they'll stay with us. And what this is, it will be $1,200 in total, $600 if you're a full-time employee. This is for full-time employees, both classified and certified the same. If you're a full-time employee by September 1st, you'll get a $600 check, or with the taxes, whatever it may be, in the middle of September. And then again, at the end of March, if you're a full-time employee at that point, still, you'll get another $600 check before spring break. So that kind of makes folks hopefully want to stay with us, and we're having trouble with that. So this is something we believe that is well earned, but it's also something that we think will help keep our folks here so we can continue to do the 5 days a week in person as we're trying to do. So I ask that you guys approve that.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Any questions? Need a motion to approve the $1,200 additional compensation for COVID-19 preparation and prevention.
So moved. As Errol says.
So
Got a motion by Ms. Card and second by Mr. Johar, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passed. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you.
And the next item on the agenda is our board consent agenda, and this is approve the minutes of the prior board meeting, consider leave of absence request, consider non-resident contract with Hopkins County Schools, approve membership fee for joining the Council for Better Education, House Bill 563, and consider field trip request. You all have had time to review those. Is there any questions? I'll need a motion to approve the board consent agenda items. Got a motion by Mr. Joe Hart,
Second.
second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Bowers, and I will second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. We appreciate it.